This is a Polaris Sportsman 600, and today we're going to be doing a full service on it. Now this is a 2004, believe it or not, and it is in really good shape. We've had this quad up here for probably about 15 years, and recently I got it running again. It just took a battery and it started right up. But I was playing around on the dash settings, and let me show you. This thing only has 110 hours on it, 383 miles. For all I know, nobody's ever done a service on this thing. So for this low of an hour machine, this is important. I want to take this on some trips soon and make some cool videos. But we got to do a little bit of deferred maintenance. 20 years, 21 years too late. So let's jump into this thing. We'll start by doing the engine oil. Now, being that this thing likely has never had an oil change before, I opted to go for the bougie stuff. This all came in a kit off of Amazon. In fact, all of the stuff that I'm going to be using in this video, I got off Amazon. If you guys are servicing your Polaris quad, your Sportsman 600, 700, 800, whatever, I'll put links for everything in the description to make it easy for you to get these things. Normally, I would opt for kind of junk oil, but like I said, considering that this is probably the first service that it's ever had, I went with the good old factory stuff. And just for anybody that hasn't worked on machines before or has worked on machines, these manuals are great. I buy these for all of my machines, the quads, the bikes, everything. They're made by Climber. I'm going to be basically just going through following this. So like I said, all this stuff will be available in the description. Now let's jump into it. Just so you guys know, I have run this thing for a few minutes, so it's warm and ready to go. Alright, so now we're underneath here. You can get to the oil pan drain bolt. That is underneath the skid plate right here. That is a T40 Torx bit. Alright, while we're letting the oil drain out of the engine, we'll go ahead and pull the filter. Now I ordered a socket for this filter. You're going to need a couple of extensions to get in there. Now for any of you out there wondering what the part number is on that thing, it is 2540086. And if you just look up that part number, you can get the wrench for it too. While I'm in here, I'm just going to go ahead and do this. You guys know where the filter is, so you don't need to see it. Really? Alright, so do not buy that filter wrench. I just had to use a good old strap wrench to tighten it up. Hopefully it's tight enough. Alright, now that we got the oil filter kind of replaced, we're going to go ahead and put the drain bolt back in. Did this thing have a crush washer on it? I don't think this thing had a crush washer on it, unless it's at the bottom of the drain pan, which it very well may be. So here's our new one. That goes back on. Okay, that's good and tight. Now I'll go ahead and put some more oil in this thing. All right, per Polaris, we're going to be putting in, where is it? Engine oil, 2002 to 2007. Premium 4 all synthetic, 0W40, 2 quarts. Now you've got to put this in through the dipstick tube, which, can you see that? It's right down here. Yeah, you can. So to do that, you kind of need a funky funnel. So I just got a flexible funnel here. And here's the second quart. All right, we'll let those go and move on to the transmission oil. So we're looking towards the rear of the quad here. The oil drain pan bolt was right there. The transmission drain bolt, hopefully you can see that, it's right up in there. This is the 7/16. That is a lot of metal. It's not necessarily a good thing, but I guess considering this is technically the break-in period, maybe we're okay. Just so we can take a little bit of a better look here. There's not really a lot of actual... There's a couple little particles in there, but a lot of that is just like probably magnetic schmoo, you know? So we'll get this thing cleaned up good before we put it back in there. I believe that our transmission fill hole is right there. It's kind of hard to get to. A smart man would probably pull the plastics off here, but you know what? We're going to see if we cannot do that. All right, now I'm hoping that you guys can see this. I'm working down here. I think you can see it. That drain plug's right there. It is a 9/16 inch bolt or thereabouts. Looks about right. We're going to go ahead and reinstall the transmission plug. Now, per the climber manual, some of them take 400 and some of them take 450. And then there's this weird measurement that you got to take. Let's see. Transmission right here. Capacity 2002 to early 2004 is 400 and late 2004 on is 450. Then if you go in here to the service section, use a vernier caliper or similar tool to measure the distance from the top of the transmission land to the oil level. The oil level is correct if this distance equals 1 5/8 inches. Note that this is well below the filler bolt threads. The oil level must not reach the top of the filler bolt threads. Anyway, you guys can read that if you want. I'll read it and then I'll do what it says. So based on what I was reading in here, we do have an early 2004 model, which means that we need 400 mils of this AGL stuff. You're probably wondering what this giant needle thing is. Well, that's how we're going to get the oil in there. So this measures in cc's, 1 cc to 1 mil. So we'll fill this thing up to 200 twice, pump it in there, and then check the level. Time to get surgical. And we'll go a hair under 200 this time, just so we don't overfill it. Now, if that volume in the manual is correct, then it should show up 1 5/8 inches from the top of the filler neck. So we'll go ahead and check that. There's our 1 5/8 inches mark right there. There's like maybe 1/8 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch too much, but I think that we're good as long as it doesn't reach the top of the filler bolt threads. If it ends up being an issue, I can drain a little out later, but I don't think it will be. Go ahead and reinstall the filler bolt. All right, so oil change and transmission fluid done now. Now we got to do the not the hubs, the front axle and the rear axle. Okie dokie. Rear gear case. This one is pretty easy to get to. The drain plug is hiding underneath that leaf right there. And the fill plug, let's see, hopefully you can see that, is right there. 7/16. Ooh, that almost looks milky. We'll run this through our fingers. Can you see that? I don't feel any grit. I think it's just wear. And I'm not too worried about it because I don't think this has ever been done. So this is 100 hours and 300 miles of wear right here. So we'll go ahead and get this cleaned up. In fact, we'll pull the filler plug out just so it has a little easier time draining. And we'll go ahead and swap that fluid out. Rear gear case. This takes Polaris ATV angle drive fluid, which is this stuff. And it takes 150 mil. Damn, this stuff is thick. You know what? You guys know where the hole is. I'll just set you back here and show you me doing it. Moving on to the front. Now the front is very similar to the rear. Except it's not, because we got this giant snowplow mount on it. So that's got to come off. All right, not only was that annoying, that was extra annoying. But we've got to where we need to get, which is right here. Takes the same amount as the rear, except there's an 8mm Allen key to fill, I think. We'll double check that when we get that far, but let's go ahead and pull the drain plug for now. Now the fill on here is right down in there. It is 8. Now I've read that these can be notoriously difficult. Well shit, that thing wasn't even in there hardly at all. That one's got a rubber washer. Interesting. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and put the drain plug back in, and then I'll show you what fluid this thing takes. Per the manual, front gear case takes Polaris demand drive, 150 mil. So that's this one here. Alright, there's our 150 mil. Well, it was 150 mil. Drain plug goes back in. Alright, hallelujah. That is a complete fluid change on the Polaris. Now there's just a couple things left to do. We're going to check the air filter. We're going to check the coolant. And then we're going to call it a day because it is dark out there. Here's our air filter. It looks pretty dirty, but I think that that might just be this little diaper thing that's on here. No, I suppose the filter's pretty dirty too. What I'll do here is I'll try to blow this out with compressed air. I'll do that off camera because you guys don't need to see that. If I can't get it cleaned out good, I'll just order a new one because these things are cheap. And then I'll probably wash this just with like water and dish soap. So that's something we'll do off camera. But glad we checked it. Good. As with anything, we'll let it run for a little bit. We'll drive it a little bit, and then we'll check everything again, make sure all the fluid levels look good, make sure nothing's leaking. And then I've got to put that thing back on, but I think I'm going to save that for tomorrow morning because I need to go eat. Alright you guys, it's the next day, back out here. I've gone around and I've checked all the drain plugs. Everything seems like it's holding good, which is good. I cleaned this little diaper thing off just with some dish soap and water. I've got a new oil filter on, a new air filter on order, but this will be fine for now. One thing that I did notice while I was poking around is that it looks like my coolant's a little low, so I'm going to go ahead and add some more to that. And then we'll go ahead and clean everything up, put everything away, and take it for a little ride. So that's up to the max level. We'll go ahead and see how that shakes out once we start it up and run it. there you guys go. That is your full service on a Polaris Sportsman 600. If you guys enjoyed the video, if you want to see more stuff like this, go ahead and subscribe. Always working on stuff. Also, a little teaser. We're going to be taking that thing on some crazy trips soon, so if you want to see that sort of stuff, come back, watch the next video, see what we get up to. Alright, thanks guys. We'll catch you in the next video.